Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Salem by Night Chronicle. I am the Ravnos Archon. My name is Will, and I'll be your storyteller this evening. Last we left off with our Camarilla coterie. We opened up with Ivory and Kathy arriving at the motel and bar after it closed down for the night, and noticing that the same gentleman that was there at the end of the bar was leaving with the bartender in the same car. Kathy discovered that she could pick locks, as we all kind of really got to see her break the law for the first time in a long while. But they made their way in. They got to see that the out of order sign was on the ladies' bathroom door. They noticed the skeleton was actually a donation from the medical facility. And then they ended up breaking into the corner that seemed to be off from the dimensions. And they got to see the cavity of a staked male kindred inside. As that was happening, Kathy slinked into the office and found a crude surveillance of a single camera that was in the corner above the office door, pointing at the bar itself, where they got to see that there was just a collection of images from what was believed to be that night. But Kathy also discovered that there was a blocked off section for next Friday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for a party labeled TDD. Ivory noticed that the gentleman in the wall had a rather bushy mustache, was on the cusp of being rotund, but not too heavy set. Noticed also that it could have either been the North Whip or the West Whip, as both of them had gone missing around the same time period. And as Kathy got to viewing the tape, she saw that a woman came in, went towards the bar itself, set everything up for the daytime, and then the same gentleman that Ivory had seen came in, made his way to the office, and when he came out again, he was in his pirate regalia. But they also got to see that a trio of gentlemen came in and handed the bartender a heavy envelope, which he stashed somewhere, but they couldn't find. They did find that there was a powerful gun under the bar, which Kathy yoinked, and then they made the fantastic decision to unstake the gentleman they found in the corner, who lurched forward and bit onto Kathy to give himself some semblance of sustenance. And although they did manage to pry him off of her, some of her hunger had risen, and some of his had lessened. And they found him rather easy to talk to, underneath all that hunger that must have been boiling up in his time in the hole, since they discovered that he's been there for at least half a year. Since his last memory was of trying to get to a meeting with Harvey Green, Samantha Crushing, and Geraldine Birmingham. But he told them that the last thing he felt was the kiss and then the stake go into his chest. But he did feel that it didn't grab immediately, that there was a hammering to it. He offered them a minor boon for releasing him, since clearly he would have spent the rest of his unlife in the hole otherwise. And he introduced himself as Alfred Beckett, a Bruja and whip of the northern part of the city, at least he was. They left. They made it look like he broke out of the hole instead of someone having broken in. And we jumped to Friday, December 7th, as they received the final approvals for the club. They are allowed to open whenever they want. They also had a meeting at midnight with Yvette Morrison, and they learned that their newest associate, Mr. Benjamin Culver, will be arriving by train on Wednesday. Ivory was handed a manila envelope with information on their newest employee, and before their meeting, Harvey Green showed up with Esley Ian Garter in tow. So they finally got to meet the Toreador Primogen, and they noticed that he was dressed as a banker, but with a touch of gunslinger, as he had the typical Wild West belt and the revolver hanging low on his thigh. He apologized for how long it took to finally get around to meeting Ivory, and then asked to be shown around, which Billy took the liberty of escorting him around the club. It was Harvey's conversation with them that was the most interesting part of that situation, as he told them about the Free Souls' attack on the Devil's Disciples up north and how Hyde had declared Kaiser a no man's land. And then they tried to strong arm the sheriff about Alfred Beckett and any information that he might have about him. But he told them that the meeting was set up by Yvette Morrison, trying to offer the Bruja in the city something off the books, as it were. They tried their best to see if he was hiding anything from them, but it appeared to them that he was being completely honest with them. And even then, they still don't trust him for some reason. Yvette Morrison showed up to her due meeting in a simple kind of black ensemble with embroidered crosses and roses wrapped around them, which set Kathy up for a little bit of a pushback, as she does have the flaw of religious iconography, which the Toreador did note. And then she revealed that she was there to ask for Ivory's backing to become Primogen once Otis takes over, but that Kathy revealed that Ivory was the one that was being set up to be Primogen, and which made Yvette Morrison take leave of the situation. But as she slinked off, they called up the Red Eye Lounge, found that the phone number was out of service, and so they went to investigate and arrived at the burnt out husk of the lot where the Red Eye Lounge used to be. And now that we have Carl back, we'll start with him, as we get to see a little bit of the week and a half that we didn't get to see you, as far as game time is concerned. But
right.
Thompson shows up uninvited to your house. Primogen Thompson, to remind you of his position.
Far too much of that in the last one.
And he comes to you. He says, "Mr. Keller, I've been tapped recently by Primogen Williams up in Portland. He requires some help with some of their wards in the downtown area. It seems that the Kuei-jin have started pushing rather hard in Portland. He's requested some help.
Okay.
I am prepared to let you know that he is offering a minor boon for any Tremere that help in this. But it will be you, myself, him, and another Tremere of Portland named Gregory Handel. I don't know if you're familiar with him."
I've heard of him.
Excellent.
We've had brief correspondence.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't know that you were in communications with him. Have you been to his establishment?
I try to maintain, contact in every city. No.
Oh, then you're in for a treat, I think. Would you like to take my car, or would you like to drive?
I don't have a problem taking your car. That's fine.
Perfect. And you do the hour and a half drive to Portland. And when you get there, you end up at the municipal library. And you see that there's a young woman behind the counter who smiles and stands up. And when she sees Thompson, she nods very courteously. "Mr. Thompson, it's so nice to see you again. It's been so long." And he goes up and just kind of grabs her hand warmly. "It's so good to see you again. Is your boss around?" And she goes, "Of course, he is in the room with Christian." He goes, "Ah, perfect. I know exactly where he is." And he takes you around to the rear of the library, and you see that there is a room with what looks to be frosted glass. He knocks twice on the French doors that lead to the room, and then he waits a moment, and he knocks twice again, and the frosting on the glass evaporates. and the room becomes clear to see. There's bookshelves that look to be from the old world. They're collections of stories and recollections and historical documentation about like Europe, England, everything from around the Reformation period. And this older
Wow.
cat of a gentleman comes over, very smartly dressed. He's got a vest, a little bit of a straight, slim tie that comes down to above his button up. He's got his sleeves rolled up, gray like banker's slacks, and the very clear brogue shoes, very very meticulously taken care of. A little kind of like John Waters pencil thin mustache across his upper lip, and then the hair is very much black with just streaks of gray, and it's all tied, all kind of pushed to one side. There's a little part, but the sides are shaved down almost like a fade. And he comes over,
Okay.
he opens the door and smiles warmly. Ah, Primogen Thompson. Please come inside. Come inside. And this is who exactly? And he motions for you to introduce
Trying to
yourself.
introduce myself. Yeah.
Ah,
I'm Carl Heller.
finally, a face to the name. Please come inside.
Yes.
Um,
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
no, it's all mine. He closes the door. Um, and you see that once he closes it, um, he turns the key once, and then he turns the key the other way, and the windows frost all over again.
Oh,
He goes, Now that we
I love
are
that effect.
now that we are in the privacy of this establishment, how can I be of service? I assume this is because of Primogen Williams, yes, and his task at hand. Thompson nods.
I not looked at Thompson, but yeah.
Yeah, and Grigori looks at you, Mr. Keller. I hear that you have uh, had interactions with the awakened. Is this true?
The kind you would not want to repeat, but yes. Um, uh, we had one of those reality bending ones, the ones that can't are that are not bound by even their rules. Marauder, I believe.
Oh, that sounds terrifying. If I should
It
have a
was
moment of candor with you,
it was definitely unpleasant, fascinating, but unpleasant.
and you survived.
I don't think he was there to kill me,
Good,
or else I would not be standing here.
good.
I'd probably be a chair or something.
I find that the rumors of them turning our kind into chairs has been exaggerated.
From what I saw, it would have been well within his power, if not his inclination.
Oh, well, good. You have dodged the proverbial bullet, then. Uh,
Yes.
there are wards that Primogen Williams and myself had erected around the downtown area. They have, as of late, been destroyed. We fear that perhaps an awakened had
Interesting.
something to do with it, as none of the kindred of the East, as we call them, have shown the ability to deal with them. You have dealt with these Kuei-jin, yes?
In part, we've definitely. I've been in their what I guess one of their sanctums. It was definitely interesting. Um, they had definitely a different type of magic than we use.
Mm.
Uh, but it would definitely not they didn't have as overt, but they it was a lot more illusion based and potentially God, what's that word? I know the mage term correspondence, but like, it's a teleportation based, or they can extend. It was bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. If you know what I mean. TARDIS
Fascinating.
like.
Yes, yes. I seem to think that this show has become popular as of late. But he knocks twice on the table in the room, and you see one of the books fly open, and a quill is picked up and dips itself into a little inkwell, and then it kind of scratches off any of the excess ink, and it starts writing down exactly what you were talking about. I hope you don't mind that Christian
Well,
takes notes.
we have another companion in there. Excellent.
But you could
I go. You know.
you could say that
Go
it
ahead.
is a companion. Christian, unfortunately, as far as I have understood from his knocking, was one of the first settlers here, and unfortunately has his life tied to this place.
Most interesting.
Fortunate for
I go
us, he
ahead.
is devours information.
Can I sense him with aspects?
With aspects, no. It is rough.
Okay.
It's definitely something that you have felt around Kathy,
Okay.
but there's no outline. There's no like somebody hidden there like you would be used to from obfuscation or something like that. This is very much someone across the shroud.
Okay.
But he takes notes, and every time there's a pause, you'll hear the kind of faint scratching noise of the quill tip against the page, the parchment. It is old-fashioned ledger work as far as the book is concerned.
Gotcha. Most interesting.
Yeah. But Grigori kind of claps his hands. Very well. Primogen Williams allowed us to meet beforehand to see what information you had as to share with us. I appreciate all of it. I was not aware that you also had to deal with an awakened that could bend reality. We've recently found that certain events have had no easy answer to the description, so I can only assume that we have fallen under the malady of one of our own awakens that is lost itself.
That's becoming far too common for my taste.
Yeah. But he smiles and he says, there is a basement that you both are welcome to stay in. Tomorrow evening, we should have access to Prince Johnson and the rest of the court so that we may bring a plan of attack. For the rest of the evening, I recommend formulating said plan of attack. And he unfurls a old map of downtown. He kind of shows you where the old wards used to be, where he wants the new wards to go, and for the rest of the night, between you and Thompson and Grigori, you kind of bounce ideas back and forth. Originally, there were 4 wards to protect the downtown area, cardinal directions, obviously. By the end of it, both the 3 of you come up with the idea of extending it out to 8 wards, given how far the city has expanded since 1920, and the amount of population that you have access to as far as, feeding is concerned and things like that. And so you have the 4 cardinal directions, and then the kind of spots in between, which are not exact but close enough. And the next night, you are brought to a spot in the downtown area that is this 2-story coffee shop. There's a neon mug of coffee on top of it. There is the name itself reads The Bean Venue, but there's a little accent on top of the A, and the joke is that it's called the Beyond Venue. So It's subtle, but also very garish. Uh, you're taken downstairs, um, and the the first thing you see is that there is an established Elysium. There's a court that meets almost every night here. So there's a lot of comfortability. There's beanbag chairs that you see a young woman kind of sprawled out on one. Uh, there's not a throne, but definitely like a very comfortable high chair at the back on a dais, barely raised higher than anything else. It's maybe a single step up. Um, Classic, like 8 inches above the ground, as far as the dais is concerned. And then there's the seats around it to kind of delineate the Primogen Council, but they're not in a traditional fashion where it's just like the prince in the center and then there's like the ring or the crescent shape of seats. The seats are around the place. Everybody seems to be in a very comfortable niche of their own. And you can see that at one desk, a gentleman stands up the moment you three arrive, and he comes over and he shakes hands with Thompson first, and then Grigori, and then he introduces himself. He just kind of brings his head down. You must be Carl Keller. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. I am Primogen, Joshua Williams of Portland.
Nice to meet you.
I'm glad you could help us. You come highly recommended by Mr. Thompson and by Mr. Coulson. Do you know John Coulson by any chance? I assume so, since you've come
Yes.
with
Right? We know Coulson, right?
You know
Sorry,
Coulson.
off character.
Yeah, you know Coulson.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, don't have my notes.
That's fine. He steps forward.
Right, yes, I remember.
Yeah, he steps forward. Prince Johnson, or Prince Albertson, sorry. If I could introduce the members of the group that will be undergoing the warding of downtown, and he goes down the line introducing Primogen Thompson from Salem, Grigori Handel from here in Portland, and then you also from Salem. The prince is a Nosferatu. Does not hide it in any way, shape, or form. He wears a not a Ventruse costume of a suit, but definitely the kind of sporty equivalent. He's got his button up. The sleeves are rolled up. The tie is made but undone. So the top button is unbuttoned. The tie kind of loosely hanging from his chest. He's got a vest that sits open, and it's not like a tailored vest for the suit. It's like a denim vest, and there's patches for like AC/DC, for Queen. Definitely much more rock and roll. And then he has jeans and sensible like tennis shoes, and there looks to be a sports jacket kind of hanging from one of the perches on his high chair. But he gets up and he comes over and he shakes everybody's hand like a uncharacteristically from all the princes that you've seen before, except for Otis.
Well, I like this guy already.
Yeah, like Otis shakes your hand. But he motions to everybody in the room, kind of introduces his court to you. There's a Malkavian Primogen, a Toreador Primogen, a Ventru Primogen, and then an Outcast Primogen, as he calls him, who is kind of responsible for everybody not represented on his Primogen Council. But then he introduces you to his Sheriff and Scourge in case you need any of their assistances. The Sheriff is Brenda Royal, who is another Nosferatu. And her skin, whereas Andrew Albertson is ugly and a way that is very mortal, and just kind of like he's beat up, like he's got a crooked nose that looks like he's seen combat, at least a fist fight or two in his youth. One of his eyes is just slightly lower than the other, a la Forrest Whitaker. Like he's got a cauliflower ear. Like it's a very subtle repulsiveness. Uh, Brenda is hideous. She looks like she used to be huge and then had all the fat overnight just sucked out of her body, so her skin drips down her face, down her
Ooh.
arms. Um, but she is the sheriff. Her um, her scourge is kind of standing next to her. Brenda is about 5'7", 5'8". Her scourge is 5'5". Like he is a little dude. Uh, Scruffy looking. He's got kind of like just this mop of hair that hangs down. That you see him just kind of like always brushing out of his eyes. He's very much like a shaggy dog. Um, he's got the typical kind of flannel shirt. He's got what looks to be an Aerosmith shirt underneath. Um, Jeans and boots. But you can definitely see that there's this layer of extra hair on his arms that definitely gives you the idea that this is a gangrel. But he kind of
Interesting.
smiles, and he's got the two regular teeth, and every other tooth beyond them are jagged, almost like a shark. Uh, but his name is Valentine
Mm.
Jones. Um, and he smiles as he's introduced and just kind of gives you finger guns. Uh, but the prince lets you know any one of my counsel is at your disposal. We know how important the wards are, and given what I know of Salem, uh, I can't thank you enough for coming up here. I know that you guys are dealing with your shit, and so I appreciate this. Um, Williams, and he corrects himself, and it almost feels like he's not used to using titles. But he goes, Primogen Williams offered you a minor boon, yes, for helping us.
That is what I understood. Yes.
Perfect. Um, if you encounter any issues, do not hesitate to come back. I am more than happy to um, help buffer should you be overtaxed and something like a minor boon not be enough. Um, he assures me that between the four of you, you should be able to handle any of the situations. Um, you are the outsiders here, so I want to make sure that you are taken care of, as the traditions dictate. You are guests. I need to look after you. So please, no hesitations. And then he shakes your hand again,
Understood.
and he goes and sits back on his dais, on his seat. Um, Williams, Williams, just kind of looks at the three of you that are gathered. All right. So, any questions? Any concerns? Do we know what our plan of attack is? Do we want to go upstairs and chat in the coffee shop, or do we want to just kind of like take a corner down here? What's the verdict? And uh, Thompson just kind of looks at the group and is like, if I am allowed to speak for the group, I think a quiet place to just kind of set down what we've come up with, so that everyone is on the same page and we know who's assigned to what area I think would be best. And Williams is like, of course, yeah, come over here. And he shows you to a door that has this conference style meeting room, just a long table. It looks like it seats a dozen people, and everybody kind of meanders in and sits down. Um, so they discuss the plan, and halfway through it, they realize that because Thompson and you are not from Portland, that it would behoove them to give you someone to take you around. And so um, the sheriff is given to Primogen Thompson, and the Scourge is given to you as your kind of watchdog and uh, driver, as it were.
Okay.
You're taken off, and you handle your situation. You do you have anything to help you discern what happened? Like any kind of supernatural detectivism?
Uh, So
What
most
is
things
what
is
is
deal
what
with
is what
blood.
is your
So
blood
unless there's
sorcery
evidence,
bullshit?
3.
Okay,
So right now I'm at 3.
okay.
Um,
What powers do you have?
uh,
Oh,
let's see.
what rituals do you
Yeah,
have?
nothing.
Blood walk, awake with evening
I
freshness,
have.
and material. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So after this little stint uh in Portland, you'll be able to add a ward ritual if you want.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so, so we'll take a look
Yeah, we'll have
at
to
what
put that on
wards.
later.
Yeah. Uh, but I'll definitely let you know that any ward that you buy from, especially from the book that you have, will be 1 XP less.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, definitely could use wards. We haven't had a cause for it yet, but I'm sure it'll come up. And some of it, I could see where wards would have been useful earlier.
Yeah. Um, but you notice that when you get to the first spot, and they give you the cardinal south direction, and then the southeastern ward, um, you actually notice that there is a Kuei Jin that is kind of like loitering around, and it looks at first glance like he's just kind of meandering around the area. But after Valentine gets a hold of him, you find out that he's testing how far they can go into the downtown area.
Uh,
And Valentine is not. Um, what's the word? Valentine is not casual or cordial about how he gets his information. Like, he is Gangrel, and he uses his Gangrel gifts.
so it's messy, but
It is
effective.
it is. But the Quasian does not struggle beyond throwing a punch or two to try to get away. Which, given what you've seen of Billy and how he handles himself, it almost looks like Valentine let him hit him. Um, but you get him, or Valentine rather, gets him, and you bring him into a side alley, and you get some information out of him. The Quajan have noticed.
I'll definitely take samples of his blood. We haven't had a Quasian cornered.
Oh, okay. But
Oh yes.
you corner him. You pin him up against a wall. He tells you that the Quajan immediately noticed that the wards had come down, and they started to test the waters. Um, they they wanted to try to find out whether it was a trap or a ploy of some kind, and they have been testing since the weaker and
So it
a
definitely
half.
wasn't them.
No, no, you find out it wasn't them at all.
Okay. I figured, but
Hmm.
just checking.
You also find out that they had been trying to bring down the wards with no success.
Right. They had said that they didn't have the ability.
Mhm. Um, but Valentine does ask you what you want to do with him, because he looks at you like, listen,
Huh.
I know what I would do, if I were here by myself, but you're a guest of the city, so I don't want us to look bad in your eyes. You want to let this guy go? You want me to do it the Chicago way? And kind of grins.
Oh, I have no compunction against the Chicago way. Um,
All right, good to know.
I just don't want to cause any more of an incident between you guys and the equation than you already have. If you guys are already at basically battle stance, then do with him what you will.
Yeah, he shrugs and he says, "Listen, war's war, buddy. I don't give a fuck." Um,
That's what exactly.
so you
End
you
him then.
you deal with the ward. I'll deal with this motherfucker. And the guy just kind of his eyes go wide as he's pulled deeper into the alley. And you hear the kind of crunch, um, and the silhouette of Valentine just kind of draining this guy. And you imagine if the Quajan have a form of diablerie, the Valentine is pushing.
Gotcha. Excellent.
But
Yeah, what did they ever talk about that out of character? What happened? Can you diabolarize equation out of character? Yeah.
out of
I don't think they
character,
ever addressed that.
I don't remember ever reading anything about it. I think because of the way the
Yeah.
Quajan fed, that they didn't really have a beast to
Right.
diablerize. Because you either, if you were too yin heavy, you didn't really drink blood, or if you were too yang heavy, you could only sustain yourself on blood, like one or the other. Um,
Right.
their rules were so weird. As far as I'm concerned, any Quajan now, given the landscape of the fifth edition, uh, count as kindred. So you could diablerize them.
Okay. Fair
They
point.
just have very different ways to use their disciplines, and they have different paths and different rituals as far as blood sorcery is concerned.
Okay.
So kind of like how they
All right.
handle the Oblivion way of blood sorcery, like those kind of things.
Don't even get me started.
I know that's how I'm approaching the
Fair enough,
Quajan.
though.
It's like, yeah, they
Okay.
one of their clan disciplines is going to be blood sorcery, but it's going to be very much tinged in that esoteric, very key based. If you are leaning in one direction, the ritual does one thing, but if you're leaning in the other, it does a very different thing. Interesting kind of angle to take if you want to start delving into that. But it's one of those things where information is going to come really slow, because I'm going to have to
Right.
figure it out as you want to learn it, and then kind of try to balance it before I go, hey, here's what you learn. But I'll tell you one thing:
Right. Fair enough.
werewolves rules as written are fucking garbage. Um,
Yeah, I know we were talking about that. That you were unimpressed.
Not even
Oh, I haven't had a chance to
unimpressed.
read them
I'm
yet.
fucking
But
ashamed to run Werewolf Fifth Edition as written. I won't do it.
that sucks.
I won't do it.
That's all right.
But
White Wolf
you,
can't force us. So,
yeah, no. You finish a ward, and Valentine takes you to the next place, and that place, you find no issue. So you manage to do your ward, and towards the end of the evening, you're all come back to the Beyond venue, the Bean venue. You meet with the prince, and you see that Gregory Handel, actually came across a gentleman when he was putting up the ward, and he describes the same gentleman that you found in your haven when you had the dust.
Yes.
And he talks about how they tried to use um, everything they had at their disposal, and he just batted it away. that this was not a gentleman
Yep.
that he
That
recommended
was,
anyone with vitae approach, uh, especially because he's not the strongest Tremere in the city, or on the west coast at least, but he handles himself pretty well. Like he's a scholar. Um, Grigori was just like, I have never seen someone with this kind of ability before. As a vacant go, this was a monster.
yes, I would agree. He was beyond my ken, as much as that galls me to say. Um, like far, like not even in a in the same universe.
But he lets the group know that he couldn't put up his two wards, and so you have to stick around for another day. Williams asks everybody to kind of stick around so that the entire group that has been gathered to do the ward shows up in case this marauder makes another appearance. Um, the next night, he doesn't. It's a quiet night, so you guys handle Grigori's two wards. The downtown district feels warded as you set up the last one, and you can even feel that there is a level of security in the downtown area that you didn't feel when you arrived. Um,
Gotcha.
and although Grigori's library isn't in the downtown area, like it's just outside the border, it does extend this far out. Um, and you're not sure if it's because he warded the library and it's kind of piggybacking off of the other wards that have been placed, um, or it's just a different sensation, that he might have added a ward in between when you arrived and when you were done with it. But again, he invites you to stay in the basement if you'd like. And the next night is Friday, the 7th of December. And
All right.
on the way down, Thompson looks over at you. He's like, I think we should check in with Mr. Coulson. He might want to know that whatever marauder was traipsing around Salem is now in Portland. Hopefully, we can get his assistance should the marauders start to break any of the wards again. I know that
Yeah, I think
this
that's a good idea.
I know that this might put you in a predicament since your coterie is um, aligned itself with Prince Hyde, given this Praxis war. So I understand if you don't want to stop and speak to Coulson. I can call him once we arrive. Your choice.
At the moment, I don't mind. I don't think it'll affect us one way or the other. Because everything is so in flux at the moment
Understood.
that
I don't want to
it's
put
good
you
to keep up
in a
context regardless.
correct. I don't want to put you in a predicament. Is all I was looking out for you.
I appreciate it. I did tell him if Grigori wanted to know too about the equation that they were testing the words, and we pretty much confirmed that it wasn't them to start with,
Okay.
as we assumed, but
Perfect.
just wanted to
So Portland is
double check.
informed as to where the Quadrant stood
Yeah.
on that situation. Gotcha. So as you start to drive into Salem town, where you take the different highway down into Salem instead of going into Salem proper, you notice that the sign for the Red Eye Lounge is off, and as you drive up the road to where the bar stood, there is a burnt out husk of a building. And as you pull up, you see a familiar car pull up. And it's Kathy and Ivory and Billy.
All right.
And so, as Kathy and Ivory pull up, you'll see a car pull up as well. And you'll notice that the first one to get out is the driver, which is Primogen Thompson. And coming out of the passenger seat is Carl.
Okay,
Well,
then.
fancy meeting you guys here.
This is a coincidence.
I go away for a weekend, and what happens? Jesus.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Primogen looks over at you two, kind of looks like he's making a mental note, but then you see him walk towards the actual establishment and start to investigate, almost like a detective. He just bends down, he starts grabbing things, no problem, and just kind of starts turning things over in his hand. But the three of you have been brought together, and so if you want to trade information, he's far enough away that he looks to be out of earshot. If you want to whisper information to each other.
Sure. Well, yeah, I let him know I was just helping. I helped out with the wards in Portland.
Oh, that's where you were.
It was very interesting. Yeah, I had to do a little in-clan sort of help.
Okay. Yeah, we'd had some interesting things too, and needed to get some information to some people, and and indicates the building.
So obviously not what you expected.
No.
At least I didn't do it this time.
This
True.
time.
She just leans against the
So
wall.
what's been going on?
A few things. But
Kathy looks over to the other person. It just stays quiet. We have learned our lesson.
Perhaps now is not the time.
Fair. We can always talk later.
Kathy looks right across and says, I've been spanked one too many times for giving out too much information.
Oh, but you like it.
I do.
True story.
Yep. No
So,
dying.
what's he doing? Pointing at Thompson.
By all accounts,
what
he's just investigating the scene.
Is there something you could tell?
If you're talking to him, he looks over.
Well, no, I'm talking to Chad, or to Carl.
Oh. So, there are. Do we know about aspects? So yeah, obviously. Hold on, sorry.
Well,
I've heard of upper level powers that you can see what happened in the past.
He looks like he's looking at dirt.
But hey, man,
Sure
you never know what you touch can hold a clue. It is fire.
I didn't.
Who knows what happens?
You could look at dirt and suddenly see the past. I mean, must be interesting dirt. And she says it loud enough for Thompson to hear.
Okay. And he goes over, and you see him kind of struggle to pick up the open, heavy door of the safe, and then he just lets it come crashing down. Some dirt is easier found than others. Yes.
Is this dirt in particular of any importance? Should we be, I don't know, worried about this particular dirt?
I would be, if I were you. But I also have sensed things here that I would have thought Coulson would have handled better.
Yeah, they tend to not do a lot of handling very well of their own business.
Do you interact with Coulson and Otis a lot?
Not a lot. We've had some interaction. And she makes it sound like it's beneath her.
I like it.
Kathy sighs. God damn it.
I'll go ahead and open. Try to sense anything with aspects open. To get that random visions or if there's anything supernatural lurking or radiating.
You see? What level of aspects do you have?
Blinded by the supernatural.
Oh, you have aspects too.
I have 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you do have
So I'm not at
premonition.
psychometry, but yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see what premonition gets you. You are trying to invoke a vision?
Yes.
Excellent. I like it. Okay. So for you invoking a vision, but what subject are you going to focus on?
Oh, let's say what started the fire
Oh, I could have told you that.
or what caused the devastation.
Okay.
I don't know. You didn't say anything.
No, like the people who originally were here. Like the minute, like I don't know what you're doing, but like
Right.
suddenly you just stare out to space. She slaps you on the back. You be like, "Good luck with that," and she like starts walking forward.
Okay. So
Yeah, like Mitch McConnell staring into space.
Pretty much.
well, I got a 10 on the rouse check, so your hunger doesn't go up.
Ooh, good.
Now it's going to be a resolve and aspects. So you've got resolve 3, aspects 2, so that's 5 dice, 1 hunger. Oh shit, look at you. Of course, for somebody else, I roll really good. But when it's for me, my dice can just go fuck themselves. Number of successes rolled determines the level of
Feeling all too well.
insight on the subject, if any. Perfect. Okay. So you go over, you grab your own handful of dirt.
Oh my god, the dirt.
And as you run it through your fingers and let it kind of sift through the spaces in between, you see the fire. And your gut instinct is to just turn tail and run. But then you start to see the reverse. The fire, instead of spreading, culminating. It starts to almost like very Twin Peaks. It starts to just blend backwards, kind of like the reverse of a exotic dance. And as it starts to just come down into the splashing of a Molotov cocktail, it looks like it shouldn't have done the damage it did. It was a single bottle, even uh, even though it's not labeled a particular type of liquor, it has the cartoonish 3 skull and crossbones kind of etched or painted onto the glass. The glass itself starts to piece itself together. You see little pieces, big pieces, the neck, the rag, the flame. Everything kind of just starts to reassemble itself and follow the arc of trajectory to the hand that threw it. It is a right hand. There is a small pinky on it, a pinky ring on it. The hand itself is firm, muscular. It looks like a rugged worker's hand. There is no watch. There, the hand starts to form itself in your vision. It does have a tattoo on the inside of the arm of what looks to be a M1 Garand and the number 12 in Roman numerals, XII. The elbow starts to form as the rest of the vision starts to push out from the Red Eye Lounge. You can see it. It is definitely visible to you in all its glory because it's daytime. This happened during the day. The clarity by which you're seeing the empty parking lot, the remnant of police tape on the doors that you don't remember seeing before, and the rolled up sleeve of a camo jacket makes itself known to you. You can see the rest of the arm kind of coming up. You see this long, tattered mop of hair, just kind of black hair with little wispy streaks of white in it. The beard come into frame. The ear looks like there's a top portion of it is missing. Not a clean slice, like not a clean line. Like it looks curved, like something bit it off. The beard comes into view. There's a bit of a scar right underneath where the eye starts, and then the vision fades, and you're brought back to where you are. And you can see Thompson is looking through the what used to be the office where Coulson would sit and chat with you guys. And he's just kind of brushing things away. You can see that the floor underneath where the safe used to be, it looks like one solid slab of concrete, like there was never any kind of entryway to a basement of any kind. And he comes back over to your group, puts his hands in his pockets. Unfortunately, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. It looks like somebody set this fire to get back at Otis. Unfortunate.
Insight.
Oh man, I was about to say the same shit, but I was just waiting for permission. Let's go. I got my dice.
You don't trust Primogen Thompson?
Nah, none of that fucking shit. Let's go.
Man,
I'm gonna insight.
you guys are a distrustful kind of group of people, bro.
Yep.
Maybe wits and insight then.
Do I know I'm well enough to use Auspex?
3.
Ooh, I don't think you do. I think Carl does. Carl spent more time with him than anybody else.
All right, let's do
it. 2 successes.
2 successes. Perfect. Okay.
And also, while they were doing that, Ivory was checking around for Sense the Unseen.
Oh.
Just to make sure no one was like lurking.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait before you off and give that, because I got a 1, a 2 on my hunger dice, a 1, and a 4.
Okay.
Oof.
Luckily, 1s don't do that anymore on their own.
Unless they're on the hunger dice, correct. Yeah. So
I got a 3 on the hunger dice.
You dodged a massive bullet. Because you would have activated your compulsion all over again, and with Thompson, that would have been delicious.
Get in the car.
Man, I can already tell it's gonna be a night. That was a horrible roll.
So
I was like debating my willpower too. I was like, is it worth it? Not for this.
Let me see. So Carl's got 3 wits, 2 awareness, and 1 hunger. Not a bad pool. But you have 2 dice and aspects.
Yep.
Do you have the power to read people is a question. You don't.
Yeah, because that's heightened senses, isn't it?
Yeah, that's heightened senses. So you don't get to add these 2 dice. Sucks to be you. Oh, but of course I rolled high for you.
That one up again.
Yeah.
Man, I should let you roll dice.
This is garbage. Anytime that I need to roll, it's just like, go fuck yourself. But the second it's like it's for somebody else, they're like, oh, here, let me break the game open for you. Ivory looks at him up and down. You can see that everybody in the coterie is just kind of like looking him up and down at the same time. There is a lot of distrust. Like even Carl, who this guy is his Primogen, is kind of like side-eyeing him. But you've never had any gumption to doubt Thompson. So you imagine that until Carl tells you otherwise, this guy's a straight shooter.
Okay.
Carl, you can tell that he's holding something back. What it is, you can't really tell because he didn't say enough. It looks like he wanted to say something else and stopped himself.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to. Short of
But you notice that the ladies kind of
probably
like
a bad idea.
Yeah, you kind of notice that the ladies look at him, and there's a very obvious distrust in both of their countenance.
I don't know about obvious, but
Well, from Kathy, for sure. Okay. Kathy's like Kathy's trying to figure out how to throw this motherfucker out of a window. Ivory's a little harder to read. Excuse me.
I don't trust this dirt sniffing son of a bitch.
Seems fine.
Well, he is the one who wanted your blood. So, you know.
Oh, man. Oh, this is this guy.
Yeah, he wanted to test your blood.
Oh, I forgot that mother. Oh, definitely don't trust him then. Especially now that I know when I give blood.
Yeah. But he looks at the three of you. He's like, Mr. Keller, would it be all right if I leave you in the company of these lovely ladies, or would you like me to take you home?
She sniffs out.
I'll be fine with them. Thank you. I appreciate the ride.
I appreciate you helping out in Portland. Ladies, till we meet again.
Thank you.
Did you have any
as she bows
stuff you need to get?
Don't mean to people.
No, I'm good.
I don't trust nobody.
I have all my stuff on me.
Yeah. He leaves.
Okay.
So the three of you are left
once he's gone.
Yeah, the side of the burnt out husk by yourselves.
So I go, guys, so one, he was holding shit back. But that's okay. I think he has a reason.
Immediately, hey, by the way, this guy's a fuckface.
I'll ferret that shit out later.
Yeah, because holding back information has always been something good.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just like how the moment he leaves, you're just like, hey, this guy is
We were holding back information, so, you know.
Right. Like, I know there's politics involved, so there could be a reason for it.
Gotcha.
But I'll talk to him later because I want to see what he saw.
Every time there's negotiations,
did you see something?
Yes, that and I relayed the vision. It was definitely during the day. There was, I don't know if it was a ghoul or not, but it was somebody with the description that you gave.
Does the tattoo sound familiar?
The tattoo is not familiar to either of you.
Either, as in there's one it is.
No, as in neither Kathy or Ivory. Yeah, like it wasn't familiar to Chad. It's not going to be familiar to either of you two either.
Or the ear, because we saw pictures. If it was the faith people,
it is not. It was not the faith people.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
It does not match any of the faces that you've seen so far.
Okay.
So the other thing I was going to see, since we whatever, I got what I got from a random vision. Kathy, with you in aspects, can you do psychometry? Okay, can you read items and stuff like that?
That would be me, and I can't.
Excuse me. Hold on. Like the minute he points me,
Kathy, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, sorry.
I can show you what I can do, but I don't do that.
No.
Easy girl. Easy girl. There are terms of service.
Said the wrong name. My bad. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Whatever.
been a week.
Regardless, I will go and see if I can find the remnants of the bottle. Since I know what it looks like, but I would like to get my hands on it, so maybe we can get more readings off of it, at least the pieces.
As he does this, Kathy goes, "Carl, I missed you. Go do your shit."
You go over to where it looks that the bottle hit the wall. There's no glass.
Interesting. Wait, hold on.
Very interesting.
Even though there's no glass, is there any melted fragments of crystal?
None. And it does not look like there were even evidence tents placed anywhere near where the glass struck.
Huh.
Hey, can you sniff
That's
some of
very
this sand?
suspicious.
See if you get maybe another one of those voodoo things?
Yeah, why not? Well, I'll try to.
Ivory's going to start looking around with heightened senses, also see if she can get anything weird.
Okay.
And where was he standing?
See it, and with this, I'll see if anybody cleaned up. Trying to focus on if anybody messed with the evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And fuck it, since I'm not completely useless, I'm just gonna pull shadows back and forth. Why not? Just flap my arms around.
I mean, remember that every time that you do that, it calls for a rouse check, so you're gonna chance getting hungrier.
I understand.
No, I was talking to Kathy.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought the first one doesn't.
Oh, the first one doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just doing that bullshit.
Damn it!
I don't want to be completely useless.
Every time that I roll for your rouse check, I get a 10. Like, this is some bullshit. I need you to get hungrier, you piece of shit.
He's the only one who hasn't had an instance of hunger.
Yeah. Kathy's looking around, and as as Ivory's looking around, and Carl kind of goes over to where the glass should have shattered and should have left some particles, some kind of evidence. Ivory will notice that there's a slight aura coming from one of the dumpsters. It is faint and getting fainter.
Okay.
It looks like whatever sorceress threading existed in the weave of whatever was done to this dumpster is coming apart. It's fraying and it's losing its potency minute by minute.
Okay, she heads over there quickly.
Okay.
Oh, Kathy sees it and says, "Oh, I can be useful." And walks behind her.
Yeah.
Does this? You said threads. That put me in the mind of that demon. Is it similar?
It is and it isn't. The demon looked to have been fraying at its extremities. This looks like there's a single singular braid that created the threading of this is starting to come apart. Like the three weaves are just coming apart, and as they do, they start to dissipate and become dust.
Okay. So she's gonna hop up on the side and look in and see what she can see.
Inside, it looks like there's the remnant of blacked out outlines. Like the closest thing that I can tell you is if you've ever seen the images of the shadows of the victims of Hiroshima or
I know that from nuclear.
Or Nagasaki. There is a lot of that on the bottom of the dumpster inside. It looks like layers of those same shadows where people were there 1 minute and then vaporized the next. There's no remnant of them other than these kind of mock silhouettes. Excuse me.
Kathy pokes her in.
So if she used Sense the Unseen on it, would it Is that what she gets? Is that
That's
what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because to Kathy, it looks like just a blackened bottom. There's traces of dust of like what looks to be this gray dust, and you can smell burnt flesh and burnt bone and marrow.
Smells like barbecue.
But
So there was a
can
body.
See the bodies. Ivory can see the remnant of the bodies that were disposed of here.
Carl?
But Carl will focus on whoever cleaned up the glass, and it's the same hand. You see the same pinky ring come down, the same kind of strong worker's hand. But you'll also notice that the moment the hand comes into view, it doesn't touch the glass itself, but it holds its hand above it. And you'll notice that as the hand twists in your vision, the tattoo of the M1 Garand shimmers. And each kind of strayed, broken, shattered piece of glass starts to turn into its components. It just turns to sand.
Huh.
And then the hand vanishes.
Okay. It's not. That doesn't look like the Marauder, right?
It was not the Marauder.
But that was magic. Anyway.
Yep. So
and
go ahead and look for.
And then Ivory goes, Carl.
Yeah.
Quick! It's dissipating.
Oh. Okay, I'll walk over there quickly.
You notice that they bring your attention to one of the dumpsters.
Is there question, Will? Is there any rats nearby?
There are not.
Huh.
There are no rats nearby. But you're brought over to the dumpster. And you can see the same thing, the kind of the fraying tapestry, the kind of like, and you recognize it as blood sorcery. Like there was a ritual, some kind of powerful tie had been wrapped into this dumpster. If you want to try an intelligence and blood sorcery to try and figure out what it is, I can give that to you.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So you still have a hunger one because you're an asshole.
Yep.
And my dice apparently don't want you to get hungrier. Okay.
I am in control.
4 successes. This looks like a ritual of destruction. It looks like this was used to destroy whatever was put into it.
That seems like a very useful ritual. But powerful, I imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks like it was used primarily on kindred because it doesn't have the same potency it would for humans or animals. You can still destroy it, it just takes longer. But it's definitely meant to remove evidence, as it were.
Okay.
So this was kindred?
It is definitely blood sorcery.
These were kindred bodies. Yeah,
well, I mean, the bodies. Were the bodies kindred?
That's more difficult to discern.
The dust.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
the ritual.
wait,
what you're saying is that the ritual. Yeah, but hold on. The ritual was designed more to destroy kindred than to.
Correct.
Than for animals, is what you're saying, and humans, because it'll take longer to unravel whatever.
Like there is an animal outline buried under other outlines. It's almost imperceptible. But the majority of the outlines are all human shaped.
Okay.
Carl does know that Coulson, a few years ago, up until the middle of this year, was working with Andrew Givens, who was turned out to be a member of House Goretrix and an Infernalist. So this might have been something that they worked on together, or that was developed by either one of them. But Andrew Givens has since been destroyed.
Nature, or is it just pure blood?
No one knows for sure because he was destroyed. But
no, but I meant the ritual. Is it infernalist in nature, or
no,
is it
not at all? It is blood sorcery. It is
blood sorcery.
It looks like it's striving to be as close as possible to rote magic with a K. But it still doesn't have the same potency of an actual like awakened behind it.
Question.
Yeah.
Right.
You said that it's unraveling. Can we make it unravel faster?
I mean, yeah, if you want to toss things in there.
Okay, let's do that.
Why?
Why would you want to make it? Yeah, why?
Because whatever put the effort to put it so that it ravels together and keeps it together, that's undoing, right?
No. The ritual is basically unraveling beings. So, like, if I tossed a body in there, it's unraveling the body.
Huh.
So the ritual is it already spent, or is it about to be spent, kind of thing?
But that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Find
Go ahead.
Find something on the ground and throw it in. See if it's still working.
That's exactly what I want to do. So I want to take it and I want to throw it and see if it works.
Yeah, you throw a branch in there, and with the lid open, nothing happens. If you
close the lid.
If you close the lid, you'll hear a kind of whoosh, like an incinerator turning on for a moment. But there's no light, there's no heat, and if you open the lid, the branch is destroyed.
Can I try something?
And I glad you didn't get in there.
Wait. Can I try something? Carl, can you help me move the dumpster just a little bit? Like, can I push it out?
Carl doesn't have the strength to help you push anything.
Yeah, I can look at it with harsh language.
So, I have an idea, and I want to take this dumpster with me if I can.
Take the dumpster?
Yeah, that's
hear me
beyond
out.
my ken, sorry.
Hear me out. We can actually attach it to the car, put it on some wheels, and drive it slowly through the neighborhood. Hear me out. And we can use it for the Elysium, put it behind her little thing, and then shove Hyde into it.
That's not a neighborhood. That's a city.
It's a great idea, guys. It's a great idea.
I mean, Billy comes over.
Have I learned
But it's a perfect way to just push Hyde into something and get rid of him if it works.
Yeah. If the threading is still active.
Oh,
right. Yeah, that's part of the problem.
By the time New Year's comes around,
the ritual is unraveling, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sadness.
All right.
But speaking of, just for future note, because I don't have any XP right now, but did I learn enough of the ritual to duplicate it, or is that beyond my ken right now?
No, the ritual in the trash bin?
Yeah, the ritual.
Oh no, not at all. You just watching it happen, like you don't know what went into creating.
So I got like the thing.
You know what it does.
Yeah, I got the effect.
You have no idea how they got there.
But
you know where the finish line is.
Like,
you don't know what the race looks like.
Is there anything else that we want to do here? Because we should probably leave.
So just so we're understood, not only did somebody randomly burn down this building, but in order to destroy evidence, they put it in the trash can. And it's linked to Otis King, who we are supposed to be helping.
And apparently kindred in the concept. Or
I'm not sure if the two are related.
Human.
Wasn't this Otis King bar person? Didn't we meet him here?
Yes. And they may have used this for other disposal things if Coulson was working on something like this. It may not have been related to the fire.
Bodies. Yeah, definitely bodies in the past. Can we tell how recently this was used?
Given the successes that you got on your blood sorcery roll, it was used at maybe like within the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means that. Oh, great.
It's iffy,
Yeah.
but it's also could be. Who knows if it was just disposable of humans? But it's definitely a piece of information to hold on to. And I do tell them about I relate to you girls the fact that the guy who threw the bottle was able to turn the bottle into sand afterwards. So that's not good. That's definitely.
Who has the power to do that? Like, how high up in power do you have to be be able to, like... What? Who?
Remember the guy I was telling you about that could turn... Yeah, remember I was telling you about the Marauder that could turn things into... like guns into rubber guns and all that fun stuff?
Why would they want to turn bottles into sand?
Destroy evidence.
Get rid of the evidence.
No, I get that, but... Wow. Okay, cool. Like, we don't have enough funky shit going on.
No shit.
Nope, always another layer.
Yeah.
Onions, people, onions.
But yeah, so I don't know. It wasn't the Marauder, but it was another mage, and that's not awesome that we have another mage involved running around.
Lovely, you know? Just great interactions here, guys. But doesn't that mean that Otis King was interacting with them too? Like, is there a possibility of that, considering where this is locating?
I mean, he could have.
Don't know. We haven't been able to.
He could have pissed off a mage.
Oh,
yeah.
As a question, when we leave messages for people, how do they get back to us?
My phone.
Your phone has a voicemail?
There's an answering machine.
Answering machine, I imagine at this point, but yeah.
Okay, cool. She goes in to see if there's any like calls because we made a bunch of calls. Hopefully, someone called us back. It's been a couple hours.
No messages.
Hey guys, no surprise. We're not important.
Do you have a number for Coulson? Because we didn't have a number for him.
You should. You have
one
we called
A number.
We called Otis.
A number, yeah. Sure.
So
why would we want to reach out?
Yeah. If you go back to Ivory's car and you make the phone call, you will hear a kind of deep voice answer. Yeah, Gunther Storage, how can I help you?
So I'm looking for Coulson.
Oh, he's not in tonight. Can I take a message?
Tell him Carl was looking for him.
You got a last name, Carl?
Heller.
You got it. Curtly hangs up.
You could have asked where he went.
I don't think that guy was going to give me anything.
I don't think so either, but it's worth a shot.
With good reason.
I mean, you got a ton of information from that phone call. Just letting you know.
We didn't hear the phone call.
The store, yeah.
But
no power relay. There was a gruff voice.
Storage.
Yeah, Gunther Storage.
Yeah, Gunther Storage.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. She gets in the car. Let's go, Ivory.
Look it up in the phone book. Is it there?
It is, and it is in West Salem.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's close to the bridge.
Okay.
He's like pulling Ivory into the car. Let's
head there.
Go.
She was in the car.
Yeah. Right. So everybody gets in the car. Billy takes a look at the address. Like, I'm pretty sure I can get there, ma'am. Give me a second.
Well, they got maps. We got maps.
You do got
maps and phone books and.
Yeah. And he does open the glove compartment. He takes out a map of West Salem. And he looks at the address and he's like, Yeah.
Math.
I figured where this was. Yeah. And he takes you down there.
You're the man, Billy.
It's about 25 minutes to get down there. The office looks like a 2-story building. There's a little parking lot that maybe can fit about 12 cars, like a dozen cars. There's 2 cars parked there.
Do we recognize any of them?
No.
Okay.
The storage itself, it looks to be a double row of shipping containers. There's maybe I want to say it's like 14 back to back on the first floor, and then what looks to be instead of 2 butted up against each other, the second floor is just 1 row of single storage containers that are kind of laid out. A false floor has been created on the top of one of them. There's ample room for like bringing in furniture and things like that. It looks like very simple mom and pop container store, container units. But you walk in and you see there is a gruff black gentleman, bigger than average, sitting there, bald head, this white beard. He looks old and haggard, weathered. But he looks up, and you immediately hear the same voice you heard on the phone. Yeah, what can I do for you guys?
Nope. Because before they even walk in, I pull Auspex and I go around the other side to try and see if I can't sneak into one of the storage units.
You have Auspex?
Not Auspex.
No, I think she's trying to obfuscate.
Oh.
Yes. And yes, I will pull on that.
Okay, that will be a rouse check for you. And of course, I got higher than a 6 because my dice hate me.
I got an 8.
Oh, I thought you didn't have dice.
I showed you I had dice.
Okay, all right, bro. I heard that you didn't have dice.
I've been rolling.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't pay attention to you, bro. I do.
Yeah, before they would have gone in, she would have used Sense the Unseen to see if anything was funky.
Nothing outside. And if Kathy's going to get into where the storage units are, you're going to need to make a
Larceny?
Not larceny, a strength and athletics roll to climb the fence. That's 1 dice. 1 die.
Good luck.
Woo!
Yay! Let's see what I can do.
No.
Let's go! I got a 1.
Oh no,
Well,
that's her hunger die.
That's your hunger dice, so your compulsion kicks in. Your clan compulsion.
Yay! I've been rolling like shit tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go!
The moment you try to vault the fence to get into the storage unit area, your conspiracy theory hat just firmly becomes situated on your head. The tin foil just wraps itself, and you're like, there has to be a reason why the storage units are so important to Otis. Like, why would Coulson give Keller the number to this place unless this is like the fortress of solitude for Otis King? And you are
like, I wasn't going there.
you are convinced that he has to be hidden here somewhere. And you have to find him.
I was already on that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. So you guys will see Kathy kind of slink off around the corner, and then you don't get to see any of the shenanigans that are about to take place there. But if Carl and Ivy go inside, they'll see the black gentleman that I described, and he just kind of looks up. Yeah, can I help you guys?
Yeah. Some friends of ours, I think, use your storage facility. And she's totally using her acting and all of that, and turns on a little bit awe.
Okay. He looks at you. He's like, "Oh, I wish I could give out information about who rents out what here, but I can't. I really
Oh, and she's, showing some cleavage, and
um
they asked us to pick something up, and I forgot the number.
give me a wits and awareness roll.
Okay.
Uh,
With presence?
with aspects, yeah.
Aspects, or am I trying to make him do something, or am
No,
I?
no, you're trying to pick up something.
Okay.
Let me roll for Carl.
So yes with aspects?
Yes, with aspects.
Yes, please.
Because you have heightened sentence up.
Yep.
Oh shit, yeah. I got fucking 3 10s on this roll.
Uh-oh.
So Carl picked it up. None of them are on the hunger dice.
Okay. I got 3 successes.
Okay. Yeah, the two of you suddenly hear from upstairs very mildly the sound of a Miles Davis record being put on. And Ivory assumes that it's Get Up With It. It sounds like something you've heard before.
With Otis.
With Otis. Carl knows that it is Get Up With It from Miles Davis if he's ever listened to jazz. But he also knows that it is one of the records that you have heard playing in the background whenever in the few interactions you've had with Otis King.
Okay.
But it's coming from upstairs and it's coming very, very muted. But Ivory, once you turn on awe, you notice as well that as he's trying to fight the urges and just kind of keep his job, there is a shift in your periphery, and you'll notice if you kind of glance over there, Manny's hidden, obfuscated. And
she turns to him and winks.
And it's very much like he was trying to hide, and the moment your awe kicked in and affected him, he made his presence known. But you see him kind of point upstairs, and he walks behind the gentleman and up an open doorway.
Oh, I just remembered. Thank you. And she goes and follows.
Okay. So Carl will see Ivory just kind of walk upstairs. And he goes, ma'am. And then the phone rings as you hear the chair kind of swivel. And he picks it up. Yeah. All right. As long as they're with you. And it hangs up.
She turns back to him and blows him a kiss. Thank you.
Upstairs, you both will see Manny has come out of his obfuscation. And he's like, look at these. Hey, what a sight for sore eyes, or something like that.
Hey, good to see you not all burned up.
Oh, me? No, man. Come on. You gotta wake up pretty early to get the drop on Manny Garza. I'll tell you what.
Well, someone got the drop on you guys.
Well,
what the hell happened?
That's what we're trying to figure out. Come on. And he takes you down the hall. And you'll see that the office is very similar, almost a carbon copy, except that this is smaller in scale compared to the office that he had underneath the Red Eye Lounge. It almost looks like this is a blueprint for where he got to. And behind the desk, you'll see that Otis is there. Off to the side, there's another desk where you see Coulson kind of working through paperwork. and sitting on the floor in the corner, just kind of scratching the belly of the raccoon that he has, is Dimitri Korchagin. But Otis looks up from the paperwork that he's working on, and he goes, "Ah, good. Some people that I've actually wanted to see." And this is where we're going to stop for tonight. So, this is a good place. I like it.
This is not a good place.
This is a fantastic place.
This is not a good place.
So good. So good for everybody involved.
Aw, come on.
But I'd like to thank you guys for participating in the story. As always, you make this the funnest Mondays I can think of. I thank the audience for joining us as well. We couldn't do this without you guys. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for going on this journey and helping me tell a story about a city that I know nothing about. And as always, I want to give you guys a chance to plug whatever you're into. Carl, since you're back, Chad, what are you up to, and where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Zanaficus. We are currently still in the middle of moving, but I'll throw out a shout out to the local convention that's about to happen, Meeples and Peoples. It's a board gaming convention over in Orlando.
Okay.
Other than that, not much right now.
Perfect. Ivory, Susan, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found, and what are you up to?
Pretty much, I've got an Instagram where I take pretty landscapes if you want to just have them come across your feed at Lockgen.
Nice.
And
all right. And Kathy, Jesse, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found, and what are you up to besides this?
Nothing.
Perfect. Succinct, like Alexander Hamilton. So I want to thank you guys again. As always, we take mental health on the channel very seriously. So if you feel like you need help, just understand that it is okay to not be okay. And if you're watching live, there's phone numbers going up in the Twitch chat. They'll be in the description box if you're watching on YouTube later. Just know that there are people out there who want to help you if you feel like you need it. If you're not in the United States, or you have issues with phone numbers and you want to do your checking online, there's a link going up as well. That'll be available as well in the description box. Because there are people out there who want to help you. And, we all sometimes need help, and it's okay to ask for help if you feel like you need to ask for help. So just know that there are resources out there for you if you need that kind of help for yourself. Mondays, as far as the schedule is concerned, are always for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, or What If the Beckoning Had Happened in 1980 instead of in the modern day, is gearing up towards a New Year's Eve that is going to be spectacular, to say the least. Tuesdays are for Werewolf of the Wild West or Legend of the Five Rings in an alternating Tuesday slot. And as of right now, every other Thursday is for 7th Sea, and we'll be starting a second Thursday slot towards November of Old Gods of Appalachia. So keep an eye out for that. As far as
cannot wait for that.
Yeah, I just caught up with the podcast, and it is fantastic. As far as catching me be a player, you can catch me over at McStabber Studios every Wednesday as I play the lovable cinnamon roll of a La Sombra named Agustin de la Cruz, who does nothing wrong in his entire life. He is only a victim. La Sombra don't do anything wrong. He is a victim of his time period, and we are currently in 1250 Carpathia. So, shit's happening over there that I have no control over. But as always, thank you guys for being a part of this. I hope you had a good time. I know that I did. And I can't wait to see what happens when you find out what Otis King needs to have you do for him. So we'll find out in the next session. So everybody have a good night. Bye.
Bye.